you float through the velvet folds of space, where countless stars shimmer like scattered thoughts. Your mind drifts toward the places where light itself slows, hesitates, and finally surrenders. Here begins your gentle acquaintance with black holes, not monsters, but soft cradles of gravity. Their pull is like a lullaby, calling you deeper into wonder. Asterisk, you drift among the silent lanterns of the cosmos, each star a delicate candle breathing in the dark. Their light spills across the vast black tapestry like glimmers of memory, soft and unhurried. Your mind feels wide here, stretched open by distance and possibility. Time loosens its grip, your thoughts spreading out like ripples over a still pond. There is no hurry. The universe waits with you. As you float, you notice how the stars cluster in gentle rivers of brilliance. They swirl in sprawling galaxies, spiral arms unwinding like silver ribbons caught in a slow breeze. But your attention drifts inward, toward darker places where starlight thins and finally fades. These are the quiet alcoves of space, realms that seem empty at first glance. Yet in this darkness, something profound stirs. You imagine pressing your ear against the fabric of space-time, listening for a subtle pulse. In these regions, where gravity reigns supreme, there is a hush so complete it feels alive. It is the calm breath of the universe exhaled in places too heavy for light to linger. Here, black holes dwell not as violent monsters, but as serene wells, patiently holding secrets in their deep embrace. Your mind reaches out to these invisible entities. Though they wear no bright crowns of flame, their influence is unmistakable. Stars orbit them with a kind of reverent grace, circling unseen. Centers, whole systems, curve their paths around these silent anchors. You realize black holes are not merely gaps or voids. They are sculptors of the galaxies themselves, guiding the dance of stars with a patient, unseen hand. Imagine for a moment that gravity is like a soft sheet stretched taut. A star rests upon it, dimpling the fabric just enough to tug nearby objects. Closer, a black hole, by contrast, is like a tiny, incredibly dense marble pressed into that same sheet, so heavy it plunges straight through, pulling the fabric down into a well with no bottom. Anything that strays too near slides inward, caught not by claws but by an irresistible invitation. Even beams of light, those swift travelers, cannot escape once they cross a delicate threshold. You marvel at this idea that light itself, the fastest thing you know, can be gently captured, folded into darkness so profound it cannot return. It feels almost tender, the way the black hole gathers light, like cupping fireflies in careful hands. And yet there is also wonder in the way these entities bend the very structure of space and time, creating paths that curve inward forever. As you float closer in your thoughts, you sense how this gentle darkness is not emptiness, but concentration. A black hole contains mass once spread out as a radiant star, now tucked tightly into a tiny core. Its gravity is not violent by nature. It simply is an honest, immense presence that shapes its surroundings with calm persistence. You think about how we only truly know these hidden giants through their effects. A nearby star wobbles strangely, orbiting a spot where nothing visible waits. A swirl of hot gas forms a luminous disk, spiraling faster and faster, glowing bright before finally slipping past an invisible boundary. X-rays flare out, whispering of matter heated to extremes just before it disappears. Each clue is like a footprint in dew, telling of a traveler you cannot see. There is poetry in this, that some truths in the universe announce themselves only by what they cause around them. Black holes are shy artists, leaving trails of rearranged starlight, ripples of distorted time, and subtle motions that betray their hidden weight. Your heart slows as you imagine drifting even nearer. You picture the immense stillness at the heart of a galaxy where a supermassive black hole waits, millions, sometimes billions, of times heavier than our sun, yet utterly silent. It does not roar or thrash. It simply holds space in exquisite tension, shaping the galaxy's grand spiral around its patient core. Without it, the dance would unravel. You start to understand that black holes are not cosmic destroyers, but essential weavers. They help form the structure of the universe, their gravity pulling threads of gas and dust together to spark new generations of stars. Even in their quiet darkness, they participate in the creation of brilliance. Your thoughts grow soft around this realization. The universe feels less hostile, more like a vast organism with many moods. Bright laughter in the twinkling stars, deep contemplation in these silent wells. There is comfort here, knowing that even the darkest places contribute to the beauty and order of all things. As you continue to float, you sense your mind growing tender toward these enigmatic beings. They are not monsters lurking in the dark, but rather gentle centers, offering the cosmos both a steady hand and a profound mystery. In their company, you feel small, yet intricately connected to a much larger story. You breathe slowly, letting your body relax. Your thoughts ripple outward like soft currents. You rest in the knowledge that the universe holds places where time itself slows down, where the rush of moments becomes a lingering hush. In these spaces, you can imagine pressing your thoughts against the edge of eternity. Somewhere in this gentle darkness, a star is reaching the end of its luminous life. It swells, sighs, and begins to collapse inward, preparing to join the company of black holes. Its bright surface ripples and folds, giving way to gravity's patient pull. You feel a delicate anticipation, wondering how it feels to take that final breath and fall inward. Perhaps, you muse, there is a kind of peaceful inevitability in it. A last surrender that isn't a scream, but a calm yielding, like drifting to sleep. And as the star gathers itself into a new shape, something denser, darker, yet deeply significant, you find your thoughts drawn tenderly toward this next unfolding mystery. You wonder how it feels to be a star in its final hour, to swell with fading light and then slip inward, offering your brilliance to gravity's gentle hand. Perhaps in the quiet cradle of collapse, there lies the first secret of black holes, waiting to be felt, not feared. You drift closer, ready to witness a star's last breath. You follow the fading sigh of a giant star, watching it swell with pride before collapsing inward. Its final exhalation is both a farewell and a promise, birthing a black hole in silent ceremony. Matter folds in on itself, weaving a dense secret. You rest here, feeling the star's memory cradle you. Asterisk, you drift through the tender dark, wrapped in a hush so complete it feels almost holy. Around you, constellations scatter like quiet confessions, their delicate patterns telling stories that began long before your own. Each star seems to pulse with its own serene heartbeat, steady and patient, humming a lullaby written in hydrogen and helium. Your thoughts begin to orbit one particular giant, a star many times more massive than your sun. Even from afar, it radiates, a splendor that feels intimate, as though its light is brushing against your skin, warm and approving. You hover close enough to see it ripple subtly, its fast surface breathing in slow, majestic waves. This star is old now, though it still burns, with dazzling might. In its youth, it fused hydrogen into helium with joyful abandon, flooding space with light. But time, in its soft insistence, has changed its heart. The fuel it once feasted on is nearly spent, and in the quiet chambers of its core, heavier elements are beginning to gather like secrets kept too long. You watch as the star swells outward, growing into a red supergiant. Its outer layers expand with a kind of reluctant grace, reddening as the heat spreads thin across the vast new surface. Is magnificent and melancholy all at once, a grand farewell gesture painted across millions of kilometers. Inside, gravity grows impatient. The core struggles to support the enormous weight pressing down from above. You imagine it like an aging pillar beneath a vast temple roof, creaking under loads it can no longer bear. The fusion of heavier elements begins, a desperate last attempt to hold up the star's immense body. Carbon becomes oxygen. Oxygen becomes silicon. Each new transformation a fragile extension of life. But eventually, the star reaches iron, and here, the universe draws a line. Fusing iron does not release energy, it only demands it. Like trying to light a stone on fire, the process stalls. The star's internal forge flickers, falters, and finally fails. In that pause, gravity feels the opening it has been waiting for. Suddenly, with a force both terrifying and exquisite, the core collapses. It is as though the entire heart of the star sighs inward, folding upon itself in less than a heartbeat. Protons and electrons merge into neutrons. Packed together so tightly, they form a dense, tiny sphere, far smaller than what once filled this luminous giant. Around this newborn neutron core, the outer layers lose their fragile support and rush inward, only to rebound in a catastrophic explosion. You witness the supernova bloom. It is not violent in your mind's eye, but rather profoundly moving, an ultimate release. A star's last declaration to the universe that it was here. The light from this explosion can outshine an entire galaxy for weeks. Elements forged. In these final moments, gold, silver, uranium are hurled into space. Seeds for future planets, future bodies, future lives. And yet, at the very heart of this spectacle, something else is happening. If the remaining core is heavy enough, even the pressure of tightly packed neutrons cannot withstand gravity's insistence. The collapse resumes, unstoppable, driving matter into an ever smaller, ever denser state. No known force in the universe can resist this pull. And so, almost shyly, a black hole is born. You find yourself hovering just outside this forming marvel. There is no dramatic swirl here yet, no flashing lights. The moment feels almost private, like the final closing of a door. The matter that once danced as a brilliant star is now packed into a point so dense that space-time itself curves steeply around it. This tiny region becomes a new kind of place, not truly a place at all, but a boundary where familiar rules slip quietly out of reach. You let your mind wander through this transformation. The star's mass remains. Its gravity still exerts its gentle tyranny. But now it is concentrated into a space so small that escape becomes impossible beyond a certain delicate boundary, the event horizon. Light that strays too close finds its path forever bent inward, unable to turn back. This is not because it slows or falters, but because the very shape of space has changed, guiding all trajectories deeper in. You marvel at how calm this process truly is. From a safe distance, There is no fanfare, no tearing sounds or furious roars. Gravity works in silence, patient and absolute. The newly formed black hole simply exists, a profound consequence of mass and geometry. It is a memory of the star, compacted into something more mysterious, more enduring. You think of the particles and atoms once forged in the star's heart, now scattered through space by the supernova. They drift across the galaxy, perhaps to someday become soil on a young planet, or to flow in the bloodstream of a living creature. In this way, the star's life continues to echo outward. Meanwhile, the black hole remains behind, a subtle monument to all that came before. There is a soft wonder in knowing that without these final deaths of massive stars, your own world would not be possible. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the gold that might someday rest upon a finger, all were born in such stellar endings. The star's last breath becomes your inheritance, woven into your very body. You let this realization settle into you like warm water. The universe recycles itself through these grand gestures, creating beauty from endings. Even the formation of a black hole, which might first seem an act of destruction, is simply a new chapter in the cosmos's unfolding story. It is neither cruel nor kind. It is merely thorough. As you continue to drift in thought, you feel a deep tranquility in witnessing this natural cycle. Stars live and die, their cores sometimes becoming black holes, their outer layers enriching space for the next generation of stars and planets. It is a quiet, endless renewal, far removed from any human notion of tragedy or triumph. You close your eyes, letting your mind rest in the gentle rhythm of this cosmic breathing. Somewhere, another massive star is beginning to exhaust its fuel, swelling toward its own farewell. In time, it too will collapse, perhaps leaving behind another black hole, another small, dark cradle of immense gravity. And so, you wonder, if you drifted closer to this newborn black hole, what would you feel as you approached its tender boundary? What secrets lie just beyond that soft edge of no return, where space bends like a sigh, and time itself pauses to listen? You drift closer to the event horizon, the gentle boundary where escape is only a dream. Space stretches like warm taffy. Time slows to a syrupy crawl. You imagine dipping a toe across, feeling your story linger forever on this cosmic threshold. There is peace in surrendering to inevitability. Asterisk, you float ever so softly toward the black hole, feeling space itself cradle you in silent arms. All around, the universe continues its slow dance. Stars wheel in distant spirals. Nebulae drift like sleepy sighs. Comets trace faint arcs of ice and longing. But here, near this dark heart, everything feels more intimate, more hushed as you draw closer. Something curious begins to happen. Space, which once seemed like a calm, endless ocean, now feels stretched, drawn thin as delicate sugar strands pulled by unseen hands. You imagine warm taffy being teased apart the closer you approach. The more elongated everything becomes, including your own sense of being. Time, too, loses its familiar rhythm. Your heart still beats, but the space between pulses seems to spill outward, thick and syrupy. A single second becomes a soft eternity. You realize that for an outside observer, your approach to the black hole would appear to slow more and more, never quite reaching the edge. You would hang there, suspended forever on the brink. This edge has a name that whispers through the halls of physics, the event horizon. It is a boundary not marked by a wall or flame or any violent sign. Rather, it is a subtle seam in the fabric of reality, a gentle threshold where the rules you've always trusted quietly change their tune. Cross this line and escape becomes impossible. Even light, fleet-footed messenger of the cosmos cannot turn back. You pause in your drifting too. Truly feel this place. There is no push, no sudden jerk, only a calm certainty that once you cross, all paths lead inward. It's as though the black hole extends an invitation written not in words, but in the patient curvature of space itself. Your mind wraps around the idea of the event horizon as a kind of one-way mirror. From the outside, everything looks serene. A beam of light skimming just above the horizon might curve beautifully, bending around the black hole and continuing on its way, telling tales of gravity's gentle grip. But let that beam fall just slightly closer, and it will slip past the horizon's soft threshold, never to return. Its story becomes part of the black hole's private collection, locked away beyond all outside eyes. You imagine reaching out with a tentative toe, just brushing that unseen line. In that instant, you sense how your story splits. From the universe's perspective, you slow to a standstill, painted forever on the horizon, stretched into a ghost of yourself. But from your own gentle viewpoint, you drift past without fanfare, continuing inward as easily as exhaling. This paradox cradles you in wonder. Two truths exist side by side. You are both forever on the edge and already beyond it. The event horizon is not a wall, but a promise that inside, time and space fold in such a way that all paths converge toward the center. There is no turning back, but there is also no violent tearing. Gravity simply holds you, drawing you deeper with unhurried grace. As you drift closer still, you notice how light behaves differently here. A photon born just outside the horizon can still flee, though it must climb a steep hill of gravity, losing energy, reddening as it goes. But a photon born just inside cannot escape. It finds every path curves inward. You watch these possibilities unfold like tiny, luminous dancers, each tracing delicate arcs dictated by the geometry of space-time. You feel a gentle awe for how the universe honors the law of causality even here. The event horizon marks a boundary, not of substance, but of destiny. Once crossed, all futures point inward. It is as if space itself is tilted, and every step you take naturally flows toward the center. There is no malice in it, only the serene fulfillment of gravity's patient design. Your mind rests on the idea that the event horizon is where information takes on a kind of sacred secrecy. Anything that crosses this threshold, particles, light, even the soft echo of your own thoughts, becomes part of the black hole's hidden narrative. From outside, these stories are only hinted at through subtle clues, the way the black hole might grow in mass, or emit a faint, ghostly glow, called Hawking radiation, as if whispering of the secrets it holds. You breathe slowly, letting your imagination linger on this delicate balance. The event horizon is both an end and a continuation, a place where outward voices fall silent but inward journeys deepen. It feels less like a prison and more like a final embrace, a surrender not to destruction, but to a new kind of order. You hover right at this threshold, savoring the gentle tension. Part of you wonders what lies beyond, how space and time might swirl together inside. Is there a path leading ever inward to a singular point? Or does something unexpected wait there? Perhaps even a bridge to somewhere new?